Now I'm going to bring in our app expert, if I may. Heads up, you guys.
Woo!
This is sexy.
All right, so Michael Studley, you have to turn your camera on. There you go.
There you go.
How are you?
Doing fantastic. How are you?
Okay, doing very good. Welcome to the Small Business Brain Trust. You are joining Scott McDonald, our marketing maniac, who is the head of marketing at LegalZoom. You're joining Riva Lasansky, who runs GrowBiz Media and is our resident trendcaster. Scott Gerber is in the upper right-hand corner, and Scott is our Gen Y guy who runs the Young Entrepreneur Council and is a venture capitalist in his own right. And Michael, I wanted to introduce you as well. You are heading up business development for Saratasa, and your company is an app developer for apps for a variety of platforms, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. And
yes.
We want you to share with us, as an expert in the world of apps, first define for us a little bit about what an app is. Would tell us just to kind of frame it.
Wow. An app functions on most of the handheld mobile devices and the tablets. Not a website. It's kind of the new age of the website, wrapped up in a nutshell.
Okay. And you guys make these for a variety of clients, right? You've done a bunch of these.
Yep, we do these for clients from entrepreneurs and small businesses all the way up to big enterprise level companies.
Okay, so now what are some of the key elements that you believe are necessary in order to justify an app or have an app that might be effective?
I think the most important thing and the biggest mistake that everybody makes is not keeping it simple. Because what should happen if you do it right is that it's an evolving project. If it's meant to make money, then you're going to constantly be evolving out of it. So keep it very, very simple. Make it really easy to use. Make whatever you start with work right the first time. Spend the budget, even if it's a bit more, to make it work really well the first time.
So I have to ask, on our Brain Trust here, we've had a lot of great laughs about apps like iFart and RunPee, which lets you know the exact minutes during a movie when it's okay to go to the bathroom. And it's just kind of fun, irreverent stuff like that. Do you have to go up? And we've seen that Scott Gerber loves that. Do you have to go to those extremes in order to have an app that works?
I don't know how to answer that question. Those are funny ones. We've got some really funny ones that are about to come out that are more of the gimmick apps. So in that respect, yeah, some of those gimmicks really catch on and they're fantastic and everybody has a really good time with them, and it seems like, priced well at like 99 cents or for free, they can really tear through the app world like wildfire. But the bigger ones that people do need a little bit more thought put into them, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, Scott McDonald, I want to ask you, the way I discover new apps is not by going through the App Store. It's by someone saying to me, did you hear about this one? And it is literally that true viral word of mouth kind of scenario. Don't you think that gimmick that we're talking about actually has a lot of merit?
Yeah, it probably does have some merit, but I'm also I use apps very functionally. So while I do get a lot of the apps word of mouth, very often I'll also discover apps when I'm downloading another app. So I'll see 5 stars or high ratings against an app that say for example allows you to store all of your documents in the cloud or be able to access your computer from remotely, and all of those I've discovered just by basically going through an app store and saying, oh, actually this would work for me as well, and it's only 99 cents to $10, whatever it is. Yeah, but it is a morass. You know, it's how do you, out of 60,000 apps, how do you find these things? And, you know, ultimately it's going to be viral.
It's interesting, though, because sorry, Reeve, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, let's go Scott Gerber. Go ahead, Scott Gerber.
I was going to say, it's also really interesting, too, because there's a new form of word of mouth on the internet and through the apps themselves now. You know, you have a lot of these new apps that actually are meant to tell you what other apps are solid and what you should be using. Secondary to that, though, not just, and I would actually love to hear our apps, expert here talk about this, but, you know, it's not just about the joking gimmicks or the self-sustaining games or any of this stuff, but there's also a big need for business to go mobile, to create an easier way to communicate with the brand, and to have a moment where when you're on the go, you can still have that one-to-one communication with whatever your, you know, overall business model is, whether that be project management, whether that be buying a product of some kind, but it's meant for the mobile world. So it's interesting, too, to see how many brands are trying to get us to use their mobile apps because they want to not just have us when we're in front of that computer anymore. They want to have us in every part of our three-dimensional world. And that's a new part of business that I think is also very exciting as well for the small business world.
Michael Studley, what do you have to say about that from Saratasa?
Wow. Well, we've just gone through a few different topics there. I had a lot to say about the viral part and the ranking part.
Let's start with that.
The App Store. Yeah, what I've really noticed there is I think you're 100% right. That viral marketing, it really does fuel the fire. The ranking thing, we've had to focus a lot on in marketing because the ranking on the App Store and what ratings mean to ranking is huge. And I don't think anybody's done a really good job of being able to filter out those bad ratings. I mean, I can go on there for whatever reason and vote for a really, really fantastic app, 1 star, because I'm upset. Or I don't like somebody's photography, or I think that your gimmick's bad.
Right.
And it really decreases the rating. And I think, we've developed some interest.
Michael, rating is huge. And for me as a user, I can tell you that I can just always, when I see something with 1 or 2 stars as a rating, I just move right on. I literally ignore it.
Yeah. So. And the disappointing part for that is that, there's plenty of fantastic apps out there with bad ratings and plenty of awful apps out there with good ratings. So there's not really a method to that madness that I've seen so far.
Is there a way for when you do get your app, is there a way for you to, in a very ethical way, to do a reach out to people to foster positive ratings? Is that a good business practice?
Yeah. What we do is we develop the obligatory website. At least if you're developing for Apple, you have to have an obligatory website with the SDK. And we try to build that website out to be what I call the fishing net to try to capture those bad rating people before they ever get to there. And basically what we do on that website is, lots of support. Hey, if you have anything about this application you don't like, tell us. We'll fix it today. Anything. Before you go on there and rate us bad. If you love our stuff, please rate us. But we want them to come through that website and notify the owner. The Saratasa actually does work for hire, so all the people that we build apps for are the owners of their apps. But we want them to get to those people before they ever have a chance to get to the App Store and spread spam about somebody's app that may not be justifiable.
Very Michael, cool. a couple questions for you. I'm sorry. Just a couple questions. I think it'll be fast. First is, does a lot of market research go into the building of these apps? Is there, any kind of primary or secondary research that goes into kind of validate the need for an app before it's created, or because it's so kind of cheap and easy to make, you just go and build it and see what happens? And second question is, what have been some of your favorite apps?
Our average app is not cheap and easy. Most of the stuff that we do are pretty complex. There's a lot of companies out there that do the cheap and easy, but we've really outgrown that a long time ago. There's a big discovery period before anybody actually engages us, or we kind of follow that construction model. We're going to do so much initial research with the company, the entrepreneur, whoever it is, the small business, to really get the meat and potatoes out of what they're trying to do before we ever build anything. We want all the questions answered. We want to know everything that we're doing so that, they drive off the lot and what they ordered, they know what they're going after. We'd rather not do the project than create something real unsuccessful.
You want it to be market-driven instead of entrepreneur-driven. Yeah.
Yeah, well, some entrepreneurs have really great stuff that they're doing, and so we support that. But again, I'll go back to what I said at the very beginning. It's all about keeping it simple to start with, and I think that's true in mostly everything in life. But if they can keep it simple and not try to build Rome in a day, they usually have something successful. If they come to us with everything in the kitchen sink, it's my job to refine it to the point where they have something to build, or they find the right company out there that'll take the money and build anything they want.
To Scott's question, do you have a favorite app or two that you want to share?
I've got one coming out that is kind of a gimmick app. I can't share it now. If we get back on this in a couple weeks, I will be able to. It's along the lines of some of this that you've mentioned. It has something to do with people's hair color. And, yeah.
Top 10 list on Apple. Here we come.
It's going to be pretty funny. It's been a challenge, but it's going to be pretty funny.
It sounds like one of those booth apps, like Fat Booth or Old Booth or whatever, where it transforms you. Yeah.
We'll get it out of you yet.
Hey, Reva.
There's another cool one.
Did you have a comment, Reva?
I wanted to know, and maybe this is an opportunity for somebody, is there a searchable apps database where you could go on this database and put in, not the name of an app, but I wish there were an app that did whatever, and put that in, and it would come up with a list next, and then ratings of what those apps are. Does that exist?
I haven't seen that. Have any of the rest of you guys?
No.
Okay, Gerber, get on it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me add it to the list. Give me a second.
Sorry, but I want a royalty. I want the idea money.
Michael,
ideas are nothing without execution. You should know.
Hey, Reva, get the patent in right now.
$4,000.
You would make a lot of money if you did that.
Hey, Michael, I wanted to ask one last question, and then we'll thank you very much for your time. And that is, when you are developing an app, should you be thinking of it in terms of all platforms, or should you be thinking of it in terms of iPhone or Droid or tablet or et cetera? Do you divide your thinking on that, or is it all encompassing?
That's a great question. I think it goes back to what we've all been saying this whole conversation. It's really driven by what the market dictates. Who's your demographic that you're going after? Is it a gimmick app that you want on as many platforms as possible, and you just hope to spread it out there, or does it really have a purpose for which platform that you're going after? Really, right now, what I see the most of in general is iPhone, iPad. Android has gained some steam over the past 6 months. Mm-hmm. A little bit harder to develop for because of all the different screen sizes and manufacturers. But if there is a big user base. So,
Michael Studley at Saratasa, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to have you back so you can do big unveiling of your new app that you do with hair color.
Purple Hair 3000.
How would I or watchers be able to get a hold of you?
Well, you can go to the Saratasa website. And there's plenty of contact us information. We're an open door. Anybody can walk into our offices here in Newport Beach and Irvine. The addresses are both on the website.
When we're going to put a link, to the Saratasa website at underneath this video at startupnation.com. So we'll make sure that
show up at your door one day.
Hey, Michael, I'm in Irvine, Michael. I'm going to walk in someday.
Great. Okay, well, yeah, we're right across the street from John Wayne Airport. Mention my name if you go to the website that whoever heard of me from the show, and we'll work real close with them.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us. You can just hit the hang up button, and we're going to continue with our brain trust discussion.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Thanks.
Bye.
Peace out, you Gen Wire.
All right. Well, that worked great,
you guys. You know what app I think we need is a Scott Gerber app, which tells you when Scott is going to be on a cable news show. Actually, you know what? We probably don't need the app because every time I turn on cable news, I see Scott's face. So just forget it. It's a waste of money.
He's the ubiquitous face of entrepreneurship right now, which I love. It's
true. God, and what a terrible face. Who casted this show?
Well, you've got, you know, it's, to tell you the truth, Scott, it's not your face, it's your shtick.
Well, I thank God, because I have a face for radio, so I mean,
Yeah,
we got to
exactly.
have something going for me, right?